Welcome to one of the 10 farms on the Saltspring Island Apple Festival Orchard Tour. We're here at the Saltspring Apple Company Ciderworks, owned by Perry Lavender and Brian Webster. It's located on Fulford Ganges Road, and it consists of over 3,500 different trees with over 465 different varieties of apples to choose from. Quite a wide variety. Here's their entranceway here to the Ciderworks. A short walk down the driveway leads you to their tasting area. And their tasting area is where you can purchase organic ciders, sparkling apple juice, and this is the bar area where you can sit inside at the tasting bar. Or they have a sun deck here on beautiful sunny days like today with absolutely breathtaking views of the Gulf Islands, complete with ocean views. And down below you'll see a nice little lawn patio area where if you prefer to sit on the grass, you can sit down there on the lawn. And this is a good general view of the farm here. It's on a slight slope with a nice view. Nice mix of sun and shade. Over to the left here, you'll see that they've got some small potted fruit trees that are for sale. In case you want to go home and plant some of your own fruit trees. You can make your own cider and make your own apple juice if that's what you prefer. Certainly what I like to do. And down here on the lawn grassy area, there's a little lawn patio area. And up here we have an area where you can purchase some of the cider and the sparkling juice. And in those little containers right next to it are their famous apple fritters and house-made pizzas and butter chicken. And that's what they specialize in. Some simple food here to have with your drinks. And over here they have some varieties of apples that are delicious for eating. Not all apples are good for eating, but these are the ones that people like to eat. You can purchase these apples for $3.50 a pound. There's an information brochure in each basket of apples that explains what the characteristics of the apples are like. And here's a list of the 465 plus varieties of apple that they grow in their orchard. And over here they can sell you a few souvenirs, or you can just simply enjoy some flights of cider like this guy here just did. But over here is where you enter into their area of their orchard, where you can do a self-guided walking tour past these potted trees that you can purchase and take home and create your own little orchard. And you'll notice that they're all dwarf varieties. And like the traditional fruit trees used to grow very tall, and they're very difficult to pick, these trees are dwarf and they grow short, 8 to 10 feet tall. They're much easier to pick. You'll see they're all identified by letters. Each row here has a letter. It's like a city map. They keep track of what trees are planted in which rows. It's kind of like keeping track of which trees are where. Good to know. And down each row you'll see that there's posts in between about every 10 feet or so, maybe further, depending, 20 feet apart, and even further. But they have strong metal wires that go between the poles, and that's where they secure the apple trees to protect them from being blown over in winds and rain and any adverse weathers that we have. Not to mention the weight of the apples gets quite heavy, so these trees need a little support when they get very loaded up with apples. And you'll notice that each row is also covered with plastic lining, and the plastic lining helps keep the moisture in, because these trees will just abort their fruit if they don't get enough moisture. So keeping them hydrated in our warm, dry winter or summers is very, very important. So you'll notice that each tree has about 2 tubes going to them, feeding them water at each tube. So that's very important. And there's a view looking back up at their tasting area. Over here is a pile of branches. These trees need constant maintenance and pruning, and that's some of the branches that they've pruned off the trees there that they'll mulch back in and compost. On the left here, you'll see some big totes where they're organizing apples, and they're putting certain varieties together. Certain varieties are good for eating. Certain varieties are good for making wine and juice. They use wheelbarrows to bring the apples down to these big totes. Then they use the big forklifts to take these big totes up to the processing center where they make the juice and wine. And at the end of each of these rows, you can see some strings, and growing up these strings are hops. And these hops plants grow the hops that they also use in their brewing processes. And here's the end of their property here. And we'll take a look down a row here, zoom in for you, just show you how abundantly full these trees are. They're absolutely loaded with apples. Well, let's go take a closer look at a typical row of trees. And down this row, we can have a better look at what it's actually like to walk down one of these rows that are just loaded with apples on either side. It's just so nice to see all the different varieties, different colors, different shapes, different sizes. Currently, there's thousands and thousands of different types of apples, and this farm here has 465 plus different varieties, so it's just scratching the surface of the different types of apples we have in this world. So hope you've learned a lot on this video like I did, and hope you enjoyed watching. And if you did, please hit the like button and make a little comment. That and subscribing really helps our channel. Thanks again, and take care.